Hi, I'm Gareth Rose from IPitch.com.au. I'm here today with David Cunningham. Welcome, David.
Hi, Gareth.
Look, David is an experienced and skilled entrepreneur. I'm telling you here, but look,
Yeah.
he's an experienced and skilled entrepreneur. He's founded two startups. One of them was a business out of China, a real estate company called Shanghai Vision.
Yep.
The second he sold in September, a company called Our Explorer, which was a internet business. We're going to get into that later on. He sold it to US travel firm Viator.
Correct.
So two startups, two successful trade sale exits.
Yeah.
Well done there.
Thank you very much. Look at the Irish.
I'll come back to that later actually. Look, Dave's focus is on sales and marketing. With two very different startups, I'm going to delve into more detail and find out the differences between the two, how an offline business relates to an online business, and basically find out how he built them, ran them, and then sold them.
Great.
So let's get into it.
Perfect.
Now look, I know the basics behind the two businesses from our chat a few weeks ago, but for our audience who doesn't, can you give us just a quick rundown of both the businesses?
Yeah, no problem. So the first business, 2003, Shanghai Vision. Quite simply, it's a residential real estate business, and we sold residential real estate investments in Shanghai, just one city, so we focused on one city, to investors in Ireland, the UK and Australia. So what we were a sales and marketing arm for developers in China. So that's Shanghai Vision. Number two then is Our Explorer. That quite simply is an e-commerce site. Our product was tour guides, so professional private tour guides all over the world. You could book them on ourexplorer.com, and then they would show you the best museums, the best restaurants, the best nightclubs, the local wisdom of their city. So that's Our Explorer.
Okay, great. Look, two very different businesses. This is going to be quite interesting. Let's start with Shanghai Vision.
Yep.
You mentioned Ireland, you're from Ireland. How did you wind up selling real estate in China?
Good question. I actually was fortunate enough to work for a great company called JP Morgan. They're an investment bank, firstly in London, and then I worked for them here in Sydney, Australia. With that, the training is excellent in JP Morgan. One of the guys I met at a training course, a guy called Graham Gill, became my business partner in Shanghai Vision. So there was actually two of us, 50-50 in the company. So he travelled a lot for JP Morgan. A long story short, he got 2 flights to go to anywhere in the world. He chose me to go with him. It's Virgin Atlantic, we're the airline. So we looked on the Virgin map and saw they went to Johannesburg, which sounded very cool in South Africa. They went to LA, which obviously is very cool and dangerously close to Las Vegas. But then we saw, my gosh, they go to this place in China. And my kind of famous quote from the company is, I said at that point, where the hell is Shanghai? When he said, we'll go to Shanghai. So quite honestly, I've never heard of the city before. I landed there in 2001. And we were just very inspired by Shanghai. It had a plan in the center of the city. It's called an urban planning center. That building hosts a model about half the size of a soccer pitch, a football pitch, and it shows what Shanghai will look like in the year 2020. So I was there, gosh, there are like 3 subway lines today in 2001 at the time, and they're going to have 22 subway lines by the year 2020. I'm saying if these guys get halfway through this plan, this is going to be one of the biggest cities and a financial hub for China. So we said, screw it, let's do it, in Richard Branson style. And we bought a property ourselves to confirm you can buy a property, hold title, and get a mortgage in China. So that's the test. That was our test product, our prototype.
Yeah.
And as soon as we went back to London, guys on the trading floor in JP Morgan were saying, Dave, get me one. We're reading data daily on China and the emergence of the dragon from the east. I can't buy stock because equity wasn't available to foreigners. You're telling me I can buy property? Please, I want 2 of them. Yeah, so we said, come on, this is a business opportunity. So we took a deep breath, quit our jobs, and the rest is, not history. It's not that big, but, it just happened after that. So we quit our jobs in probably late 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, great rundown. So, I mean, obviously you saw this gap and you took it. Let's dive straight into, I guess, the core of the business. And it seems like, I mean, from our previous discussion, it's all about sales. You're selling this real estate. I mean, the initial sales were to contacts you had.
Correct.
But, I mean, you're probably not going to be able to grow a business on just your own contacts. You had to actually start getting out and selling to new contacts around, I think you said Ireland and Australia and where was the other one?
And the UK.
And the UK. So I guess my question is, you're selling high value goods, in this case Shanghai Real Estate. How did you sell them?
Yeah, so that's the point, high value goods. So we didn't know how to market and then convert the leads into a sale initially. So to be quite frank, it was trial some methods like advertising in magazines and see did they give us results. In hindsight, we wasted a lot of money in marketing that didn't work. So as an example, point number one, exhibitions and seminars did work because it's a high value product. So the individual wealthy person that was buying Shanghai property really needed face-to-face, eye-to-eye contact before they signed the check for 50,000 Australian dollars. So they did work. So exhibitions tick, great lead generator for that business. However, not every exhibition works. We learned we had to only have exhibitions that Shanghai Vision had an office. So we went to, for example, Zurich. Exhibition in Zurich. Brilliant. All the Swiss people, obviously very rich, lots of gold and diamonds and expensive stuff in Geneva and Switzerland, and also the banking system. We thought, wow, there's high wages there for high net worth individuals. So myself and Graham took our exhibition stands and brochures, went to Zurich, but quite quickly we found the question was, where is your office in Zurich? We didn't have any. So we naively thought people would sign up this fantastic product, which it was, Shanghai property, not knowing who we were and not having a physical office in Zurich, but they wouldn't. You know, people are risk averse. So high value product, you have to build trust to an extreme level. So exhibitions and seminars worked. Another way to build trust is a TV appearance, which we had several on business shows and also general shows like the equivalent of Sunrise. What else worked? Radio. It was more the talkback radio. So it'd be like the Macquarie News, something that's trusted here in Australia. Again, having that interview automatically means that the high net worth individual trusts who you are. At the end, you quote your website, they go to contact us and see you have a physical office here in Sydney. So that worked. And what didn't work again was advertising. Because anyone can take an advert and anyone can pay for an advert. People know that, so they don't trust it. They don't trust advertising. Example, an advert saying 24 units, apartments available in Shanghai, 1 and 2 bedrooms from 300,000 Australian dollars to 370,000 Australian dollars with pictures. People are going to look at that and maybe become interested, but that's not a buying decision for them. So we didn't get many leads. So that's what worked in marketing. In summary, it was all offline marketing because people wanted to face-to-face meet us because it's a high value product. So I learned a lot. Definitely on offline marketing for high value products work.
Look, you explained that very well. In terms of some of these, the PR, some of the TV shows that you got on and the talkback radio and those sort of things. How did you actually get on those shows?
Excellent question, and this is something I learned in hindsight. So let's go back to young people out there or anyone trying to set up a company. Getting PR is easy when you have an exciting, different product. So if you have something exciting and different, people will want to hear about it. So if I decided to sell, as an example, property in the Gold Coast, it wouldn't be new to people here in Sydney, and it wouldn't be exciting to the media here in Australia because there's so many people doing it. Selling Shanghai property in China is like, you're what? Australians are buying apartments in communist China? Come in, you know, we want to interview you, this is exciting, we want to write. Have you a client that we can talk to? Because we'd love to get a picture of him and you and him explaining why he bought in China. So people were very interested. So the summary lesson there is PR is achievable for different exciting products. So when I look at a business to invest in or a business to build, it has to be different and it has to be exciting, because I know if it's not, I will not get PR. And I'm saying PR as in articles, PR as in radio and TV interviews. And I feel they're the most powerful marketing tools, but I know I won't get them unless my product's exciting.
Okay, great.
So Shanghai, very exciting.
Guys, if you haven't started your business and you're thinking of an idea, take note of that point. They're very useful. Okay, so let's go back to the trust and the credibility. I see how you know, these shows and such are able to build that credibility. You know, you mentioned people buying properties in communist China. It sounds risky.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how you created this trust and credibility, particularly after your initial appearance, when you're actually dealing with a prospect, maybe you're sitting down with them or whatever the case is?
Absolutely.
How did you build that trust and credibility?
Okay, excellent question, and I'll answer that question for Shanghai Vision and also our Explorer.
Okay.
Because to convert an online sale, you also have to build trust, but online. So let's talk about building trust offline first of all. So with Shanghai Vision, we built trust by offline marketing. So it was a face-to-face contact to get the lead, first of all. Then it was always a conversion of that lead to a paying client, so a sale, in the office.
Okay.
Physically encourage the client to come in. I guess the same for business-to-business sales, because usually the volume of money that has to be transacted is usually higher. So in that scenario, you have to bring in a client one-on-one, or maybe if it's a technical product, you have to bring in 5 or 10 clients and do a seminar. And that's how you convert leads into actual paying clients for a sale. That was Shanghai Vision. So when they came into the office, we had trust like we had a law firm linked to our company. A law firm that summarized on headed notepaper who we were, that we had a presence in Shanghai, that we did have a relationship with the developer. The second way of building trust was my background. You know, I happened to be lucky enough to get into investment banking. The JP Morgan brand is a trusted brand, so therefore they were talking to somebody that they felt had financial acumen. And I was selling effectively a financial product, like real estate. So that's the second way we build trust. The third way we build trust, and I mentioned before, is we had focus on one product. That was Shanghai. Remember, my name wasn't China Vision. My name wasn't worldwidepropertyinvestments.com. We were Shanghai Vision. We built trust because people said, if we want Shanghai property, these guys are obviously the best. You know? So we focused on one product and made our knowledge very deep in that product. So I think that's a lesson to build trust in a sale. Let's move on to our Explorer. Building trust online, totally different. So some ways we do that is testimonials. And we've probably all heard of the hierarchy of testimonials before. So the weakest testimonial is just text, words. The second on the level of 3 is words with a photograph. So John, who purchased a tour guide in Bratislava, gives a testimonial, but also he shows a picture of him probably with the tour guide. You know, it's better. The highest hierarchy of testimonials for online trust is a video. So you actually have John saying hi, and he's an Australian accent, so you know, as an Australian you would trust John more, and he's saying his experience. You're not making it up, it's a true testimonial. But I learned quite quickly that there is a hierarchy of trust for these testimonials. So outside of testimonials, we also had a secure website. So you see that with some logos like PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, but also there are other...
GeoTrust and all that.
Absolutely correct. And that builds trust as well.